Cruella DeVille. It's random review time, and this Cruella don't kill.
Nope.
Welcome into the Fandom at Random Pupcast.
Ooh.
I am Ed.
And I am Brian.
And once again, as always, welcome in. And if this is your first time in, congratulations. You picked a great time to join us because we have a very evil, almost a DeVille-like random review today.
Evil, maybe. DeVille, definitely.
Yeah, definitely a DeVille. But if you're not watching us, go to fandomatrandom.com, click the watch button because we have a great setup today. A lot of puppies on our little podcast table here.
Yeah.
they may not be Dalmatians, but it's all my son had for stuffed animals, so I just threw everything up here that was a puppy.
Weren't a lot of Dalmatians in this movie anyway. So.
That's true. That's true. But we are excited. It's Memorial Day weekend. We hope you all enjoyed it. Even though if you're in New England, it was rainy and cold as shit.
It was bullshit. That's what I say.
Yeah. Well, you still had a fun little cookout today, right?
Yeah. We made it work. Definitely. So
nice.
Not all was lost.
Well, we're recording this on a Monday, which is why this episode's coming out a little later than normal. But hey, it's a holiday weekend, and the best things come to those who wait.
Yes,
so
sir.
It's going to be a good one because we've got the news at random. We've got nerd news to cover. We've got our random review on Cruella, and we've got a lot to say about that film. So without further ado, Brian, let's get into the news at random.
Hit it, Ed.
It's the news at random. Yeah, dude. So, I think we were spared by his presence for a little while, but the Random Reaper, man.
Finish him.
The Random Reaper is back.
Has returned. He took a break after 2020. That was a lot of work for him.
So if you've been following this podcast for a while, Brian and I are convinced that this podcast is almost like a death note.
Yeah.
That we talk about things and then like people in fandom die related to that. So, I mean, Emma Stone, watch out. But
I told you, throwing that bad juju out there, it's coming back on us.
It is bad juju. We gotta, I don't know. So we had a couple deaths this week. So Samuel E. Wright, you may not recognize the name, but you would definitely know the voice. He was Sebastian in The Little Mermaid. Again, the little crab, under the sea.
Under the sea.
He has died at the age of 74. And Brian, I don't know if you know this, but this is a Disney-themed podcast.
Yes,
so
sir, it is.
He became famous in The Little Mermaid. Again, another prominent Disney film. And we decided on this Disney theme weeks ago.
Yeah.
So we reaped them.
This was in the schedule.
We definitely reaped them. And then this one is even like crazier. So we literally just talked about School of Rock, the movie with Jack Black.
What, 2 episodes ago?
2 episodes ago. And unfortunately, Kevin Clark, who played the drummer, I think his nickname was, what was it? I think Freddie Jones in the movie, they called him Spazzy McGee.
Yeah.
Dude, only 32 years old, a freak biking accident. So
yeah, I mean, if your nickname is Spazzy McGee, driving a bike might not be the best decision.
No, it's a bummer, man, too. And they just met up a couple years back. They did that School of Rock reunion. You can hop on YouTube and watch it, but they had a bunch of the kids that became adults.
Pongo!
Oh no, Pongo just fell on the table. Again, check out YouTube. You're missing shit.
I know, right?
So let's get into, again, that was all, it's all a bummer. Hopefully we don't reap anybody this week.
That sucks.
Eternals. The Marvel Eternals trailer has dropped.
I don't want it.
Starring Jon Snow and Robb Stark.
Back together again.
How'd you feel about this trailer?
I liked it. Honestly, I watched it the first time and I just... First of all, I haven't been keeping up with it, so I had no idea Angelina Jolie and Salma Hayek were in it. And
I don't know.
Holy shit.
Kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know much about the Eternals.
Me neither. Yeah. I know they kind of gender swapped a couple of them. Other than that, I don't know anything else about what difference they made in this.
Like I know they're immortal. I know they've apparently been on Earth for quite some time, and they really don't get into shit that's going on.
There's only certain times they get into shit, and erasing half of the universe is not one of them.
I hope they have a reason for that.
That's what I'm hoping.
I hope they get into that.
It really depends on the timeline, what they do with it, and how they explain it, and I think that's going to decide the fate of the movie. But dude, Angelina Jolie and Salma Hayek, I mean, those are some big actors. how can it go wrong?
Yeah, well, we'll
But the
see.
trailer looked good. I mean, the costumes looked okay. It looked good.
Yeah, man, Marvel's done no wrong recently.
Yeah.
So another quasi Marvel news, but more on the Sony end. So Aaron Taylor Johnson, I mean, this kid was just born to play superheroes, apparently.
I mean, he can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, he played Kick-Ass, obviously, in the title film. He played Quicksilver for a hot minute
Yep.
in Age of Ultron. Killed him off way too quickly.
Yeah.
And then now, dude, he's playing Kraven the Hunter.
Yeah. I mean, this is a kid that can play. I call him a body actor because his voice is always the same. But in Godzilla, he played like a badass Navy dude. In
Yeah.
Kick-Ass, he played some nerd that nobody wants to touch or go near. And then, he plays Quicksilver. He can do it all. So I believe he can do Kraven the Hunter.
They released a photo of him, like, already getting into shape for it. Dude, he was already, like, especially if you go to Kick-Ass 1,
Yeah.
and then look at what he's at now.
Yep.
He's, like, he's big, dude.
Yeah, he ripped up for it.
So we'll have to see if Sony keeps this within they're kind of creating their own multiverse outside of Marvel. They've got the Venom films, obviously. I wonder if Spider-Man's going to come into this universe.
Yeah, they keep saying, "Oh, we're not doing any multiverse stuff." Like, okay, buddy.
Yeah, a matter of time.
Okay, Sony.
The money will talk.
I see you.
Let's talk some anime news, man.
Fucking nerds.
Demon Slayer season 2, the trailer has dropped. It's a short trailer. It doesn't show you that much. It's going to be called the Red Light District arc. It's confirmed for a 2021 release, which is awesome. Obviously, we had the excellent Mugen Train film drop. I'll be doing a review of that once it hits streaming and Blu-ray. I was lucky enough to see it in theaters, but I wanted to wait for more people to see it before I gave the review.
Yeah.
But I'm excited, man. Demon Slayer is some good anime shit.
Nice.
You know what else is some good shit? I'll be there for you. Dude, one of the biggest 90s sitcoms ever made, Friends, the reunion has dropped on HBO Max. And I watched it, and it was a trip, man. A trip down nostalgia lane.
I never got into Friends, so all the hype surrounding it, I was just like, okay.
My mom and sister were super duper into it. And it was one of those shows that you didn't need to know much. You could just drop into an episode, and it was funny, man. They had great chemistry. Huge fandom. I mean, no question.
Oh,
the Friends fandom is gigantic. I know they were excited to get this film.
Right.
Are we going to see more properties like this get this treatment?
I hope so.
Now that streaming is so prevalent and they're seeing, I mean, they can make money.
Yeah.
They can make a lot of money doing this. So I was thinking, Brian, next week or the week after, what about our top 10 sitcoms from the 90s?
Yes, I'm up for it.
And if you had to pick one to get the reunion treatment, what would
Easy.
you pick?
Boy Meets World. You mentioned 90s sitcom in any sentence, my answer is always going to be Boy Meets
Well,
World.
we had Girl Meets World.
Yeah,
so I
but-
feel like that would lessen the impact.
It would, but I can always use more Boy Meets World.
Yeah, honestly, mine, Married with Children.
I'd like to see that one too.
Can you imagine the Bundys getting back together now?
Or like Step by Step.
Ooh, baby. That'd
I
be
don't know,
good.
just because that's a very like forgotten sitcom. I
Step
feel
by
like.
Step was huge.
It was
too.
huge back then, but you don't hear a lot of people talk about it like Married with Children, Boy Meets World, Friends,
So we'll have to delve into that. That might be a fun one to do next week with the Friends thing dropping.
Yeah,
Top
definitely.
10 90 sitcoms. If you're listening and you want to just chime in, let us know what you think, what your favorites were.
Definitely.
Some shitty news. Let's get into some video game news. So Biomutant. I've been talking this game up for a while. We both have because we got to demo it when it was announced at PAX East. I feel like 17 years ago.
Yeah.
But it finally came out and the reviews have been
Yeah. I didn't ever want to say anything because I didn't want to like throw negative energy into it, but I got this weird feeling that it was going to end up just being kind of meh.
No, bro. All of our negative energy is reserved for killing
The
celebrities.
Random Reaper, yeah.
Yeah.
It was just kind of out in the ether for a while.
Yep.
And we played a small portion of the demo, and it was pretty good, but
I liked it.
I liked it too, but I just had this weird feeling the full game was going to come out, and it was just going to be meh.
It's been mixed too. There are some people that love it,
I'm sure there are.
saying like it's amazing and this or that. But I've heard it's very repetitive.
I was going to say
fetch quests.
mechanically it's solid.
Yeah.
But I had a feeling the open world and the fetch quests and stuff like that were just going to not hit that level,
So it's going to be I would assume it's going to be one of the typical within 6 months, it's going to be in the discount bargain bin.
Yeah.
Or it'll be on Game Pass. So I will play it eventually.
I'm sure, yeah.
E3. E3 is sneaking up, dude.
Ether.
The Electronic Entertainment Expo, the biggest video game conference in the world every year. And it's crazy, man. Already, you can, the event this year, it is fully online. It's going to be online. It's not going to be in person.
Yep.
So obviously with people, COVID regulations, all that shit, it's getting better, but they're still not ready. But you can register for the event, and it's sweet. It's free. So you can register starting next week, and you can just go to it, and there's going to be virtual booths, all different shit. You create an avatar, you can drop in there and
Stuff
walk around.
like this, man, no matter how virtual they get, it's just not going to feel the same.
It won't.
So maybe I'll check it out, but...
Yeah, so we'll have to see, man. And we're definitely going to be doing, again, if you're into E3 and video game announcements, there's no question that's going to be our focus on our cast that weekend.
Let's just hope they give us some good announcements.
Then there's going to be no BlizzCon. So Blizzard's annual BlizzCon, this is the second year in a row that they are not even digital. They are just flat out canceling it.
Dicks.
F Activision, man.
Yeah.
To me, it's like they don't have anything to show. You just keep hearing more and more and more negative press with the Activision-led Blizzard. Shady shit going on. They're letting multiple people go from multiple teams, not paying people.
Yeah, dude. Ever since Call of Duty, they have let their egos control their company.
Yeah, and I've been pretty excited about, Diablo 2, Resurrection, or Remastered, whatever the hell they're calling it.
Yeah.
And even that is like, they're just skinning over the original game.
Right.
So you can't F it up because the game is already there.
We don't think they can F it up.
Yeah. I mean, if the Warcraft remake was any indication, then yeah, they can F it up.
Yeah.
But I'm holding out hope that it's good. And dude, Diablo 4, man, please let it be good.
All that is holy, let it be good.
Dude, this is some news right in our backyard. So we actually record this podcast in southern New Hampshire, and I've actually got my parents have a place up in Laconia area in Winnipesaukee. So right in that area, so Marilyn Manson, they came out with a warrant for his arrest for a misdemeanor from a concert. Apparently, it was aggravated assault back in 2019, and they just officially came out with the warrant for his arrest in New Hampshire. So, kind of crazy. I mean, Marilyn Manson seems like a piece of shit anyway. We talked about him recently in the news. So,
I always thought the beautiful people just did not mean that he thought people were beautiful.
He's one of those like case in point scenarios where it's always the person you do suspect.
Yes, exactly.
not the least suspect.
I'm pretty sure his dad had sex with animals and made him watch or something like that based on his biography. So he was fucked. He was doomed from the beginning.
Yeah, not good. Another thing that's, I don't know, in my mind is not good. Dude, Amazon. Amazon is buying everything up. And the reason this is fandom-related news is they bought MGM Studios for $8.5 billion, which, let's be honest, to Amazon, that's nothing.
Billion.
It is the second largest purchase or acquisition that Amazon has made, only behind their Whole Foods acquisition back in 2017. This gives them, so they already have Prime streaming. They're creating their own content. And now, dude, this gives them instantly a catalog of over 4,000 films and 17,000 TV shows. They can instantly bolster Amazon Studios. Dude, this gives them James Bond. Mm-hmm. This gives them like Rocky and Creed, like a bunch of high-level fandom shit.
Yeah.
Amazon now owns it. So I'm curious, man. What the hell is going to happen?
Don't get me wrong. Like, if I had to pick a streaming service right now as my favorite, it'd be Amazon. If they don't have what you want to watch, you can rent it. If you don't want to rent it, you can buy it. If you don't want to buy it, then you wait for it to be free because it will be on Amazon eventually. I heard that they will be rebranding their company named Skynet soon. Yeah.
Or IOI.
Yeah, or IOI. So watch out for that. Bezos, that fucker. Or Bozos, or whatever his name is.
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
Let's talk some more movie shit. And this was a little bit of a bummer to me, but so this past week, if COVID hadn't hit, it would have been the simultaneous release date for The Matrix 4 and John Wick Chapter 4.
That would have been epic.
They were both aiming for a May 24th release, and they talked to Keanu about it. He was cool with it. They wanted to release the films at the same time. Dude, it would have been like a Keanu renaissance.
Yeah.
But now that's not happening. But the good news is filming on these has been progressing, and we're going to see them sooner rather than later. So Matrix, it's going to drop in December of 2021, so end of this year. John Wick 4 is going to drop in May of 2022. So I mean, we're there. We're under a year from release on both of them.
Hopefully, we're going through the great movie depression right now because of COVID, and in the next year or two, everything will start releasing on normal time again.
But Matrix 4, man, we need to do a random rewatch on the original trilogy.
I'm very 50-50 on it. Like, do we need it? Will it be good? More Keanu is never a bad thing, but we'll see.
I think it'll be good. I think it'll be good. They can kind of redeem themselves a little bit.
Yeah.
For, I don't know, I wasn't a huge fan of how they finished the trilogy, but
yeah, me neither.
We'll see. Sports at random news, Brian.
Yay, sports.
We have to mention this, dude, because, again, New England podcast, Adam Vinatieri has officially retired from the NFL after 24 seasons. Again, 4 Super Bowl championships. He retired at the age of 48 years old. He is the highest scoring player in NFL history. And, yeah, I mean, that's why I figured, we don't talk sports too much on this podcast, but, I mean, sports are a huge fandom, and this guy was, like, the kicker.
24 seasons and almost 50 years old. You sure they weren't just like, get out, dude? We don't want you here anymore. You've run your course.
I will forever remember him in the snowball.
Yeah.
The snowball and
Even
that kick
I
that
remember
he made.
that.
Oh, my God.
Shit, what was I, in 5th grade or something like that? Even I remember that kick, and I was barely into sports.
Let's talk some literature, book news, and obviously we got to talk about the Brandon Sanderson.
I'm so psyched for this.
So they just released the cover art for the third in the book 3 in the Skyward series called Cytonic, and it comes out November 23rd, and I like it. It looks cool.
Have you read the first 2 yet?
I haven't.
Oh man,
I'm slacking because it's technically not in the Cosmere.
Yeah, it is.
So I haven't been super prioritizing
it's sci-fi Sanderson, dude, and I am all about it.
Yeah, and we're going to get Mistborn. The next Mistborn, I think, is quasi-current day.
Yeah.
I think it was like 90s.
Right.
Or 2000s.
And
the last Mistborn is going to be sci-fi. So I'm curious if this was like a test.
Twist. This is the sci-fi Mistborn, and we just don't know it yet.
Oh, could you imagine
Dude,
that?
that would be crazy if you tied that in.
She like crashes on a planet.
Yep. And then just continues into the Mistborn saga.
That would be good, I think.
Yeah, right.
Saves
Spence is probably one of the best characters since Vin. And the story's awesome, so I can't wait for you to check it out.
I was in the forums like reading too after they made this announcement, or that. One of the complaints somebody had was, but he doesn't know how to write female protagonists. And I was like, the hell are you talking?
I think some of his best characters are like Vin, obviously. Shallan, even though I hate her, I would actually say now it's
Navani.
Yeah, Navani would be a better character. But yeah, and then Spenza is like quirky yet tough yet an idiot in a way. So you kind of hate her, but you kind of love her. It's a really different character than what we used to.
And most of his female characters are way more badass than the men.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's probably some just fucking sexist idiot trying to say that.
Maybe. And then last bit of news that, again, ironically, I found the cover art for Cytonic, and then all of a sudden, dude, Mistborn is coming to Fortnite.
Like, if you told me, oh, Mistborn has everything, I'd be like, no, they don't have everything, and now they have a Mistborn character? They really do. They have everything.
So Kelsier from Mistborn is coming to Fortnite. I saw the Twitter feed in the Mistborn subreddit.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a joke. I'm like, all right, like somebody,
a Photoshop picture,
somebody's messing around. It's obviously a joke. And I went on their actual Twitter feed and it's legit.
Like, how
do that many people know?
I was going to say, how many people playing Fortnite really know what Mistborn is? Because I'll tell you what, my little cousin, who's 10 years old, wouldn't know Mistborn from her ass or her elbow. So it's kind of weird, but if I could shoot, coins at people and shit, I guess I would give it a try.
Yeah, man. I I don't know. I've never played it. Or I shouldn't say that. I've played it a little bit.
I mean,
played a little bit of Fortnite.
Yeah, what do they have to lose, really? Like, it's the biggest game in the world besides maybe Minecraft, and
I'm gonna have to try it.
why not open up the Cosmere audience to Fortnite?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Very weird. That wraps up the news at random, though. A lot of stuff we covered, and I'm sure there's gonna be a lot more news next week. But right now, we are getting into our random review of Disney's Cruella. All right, Brian. Random review time.
Who let the dogs out? Oh, sorry. Is that the wrong review? Damn it.
Shit.
Oh, shit.
So let's get this out of the way first, man. This was a complete retcon. And I should mention, too, there's going to be spoilers. There's going to be a shit ton of spoilers.
Heavy spoilers.
As we review The Devil Wears Prada. I'm sorry. I mean Disney's Cruella.
The Devil Wears Dalmatian.
Yes.
You mean?
Yes. So let us get it out of the way first, man. This is a complete retcon of the Cruella character that we knew, loved, and feared from the 101 Dalmatian movies.
I had a feeling it would be, but not to the extent that it was.
And, you know, Disney, they've been on a kick lately with a lot of their villainous characters and trying to, like, humanize them.
Yeah.
And give them these kind of tragic backstories so you can relate to them and see why they became so bad.
Right.
Like, case in point, like Maleficent.
Yeah.
Maleficent, the most recent ones with Angelina Jolie, they super humanized that character.
And I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I wish I could say the same, but I loved Maleficent.
And, I mean, this, you know,
Cruella.
She seemingly doesn't kill animals, doesn't kill people. Instead, she's, like, got a lot of dogs that are her friends. I mean, we got some of them here on the table.
Yeah, right.
And even some Dalmatians to boot.
Yeah, the scariest fucking Dalmatians I've ever seen in my life.
So I kind of broke down mine, and I've got some good and I've got some bad I'd like to talk about. We can kind of bounce around the plot a little bit as well if you want, Brian.
Yeah.
But if you're cool with it, I mean, do you want to start with like some of the good we like?
Yeah,
you can talk about some of the good on your end too.
I'm taking your lead because as I was going over the document, we pretty much almost have the exact same thoughts on this. When it comes to different thoughts, I'll bring it up, but let's go with the good.
Yeah, and
first.
we went into this cold. We did not talk about each other. We did not talk about the movie before sitting down because we wanted to be natural and talk here.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious how you feel about it.
I mean, so off the bat, I didn't love it.
Okay.
I didn't love it.
Don't spoil it too much.
I don't even know if I liked it.
Let it happen naturally.
Yeah, let it happen naturally.
As we talk about the good and the bad.
So, getting to the good, like,
and also stay till the end for our random review scores.
Right. You have some notes here. The acting. With Emma Stone, I didn't expect any less. She's a great actor. She has been a one-note actor, so it was good to see her open up a little bit in this. I thought they were going to go down the road to madness a little more based on the trailer, and I was really disappointed they didn't because I think she could have pulled it off really well.
Yeah, and I've got a little bit of info on that in a little bit, but I think the acting overall was top notch.
Right.
I mean, everybody put seemingly everything they had into the characters. Mm-hmm. Especially, dude, Emma Thompson as the Baroness. She was awesome.
Yes, she was.
Yeah,
she played psychopath really well.
Yeah, she nailed that role. And I would
actually, when we get to the bad, I'll talk about it.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, Emma Stone going into this, you look back at, you know, the 1996 portrayal by Glenn Close, which was hyper, you know, very campy, over the top. That was much more in line with the Cruella that we're used to seeing.
Yeah.
You know, from the animated film back in 1961, which was voiced by Betty Lou Gerson. But, you know, Emma Stone, I appreciate that she went into it and said, I can't do the Glenn Close thing. I can't do it. I need to make this my own.
Right.
And I think she did that to an extent.
I was hoping more Heath Ledger style, like, breakout on this. I was hoping for a very bad villain, not humanizing a villain, but a villain story where she's actually a villain, but we care because she's such a good villain.
So I know we were going to stick around with the good before we get into the bad, but you naturally just flowed into one of the bad. I'm going to mention it right now. So they were kind of, I think they were obviously held back. Like, they could have gone darker and further. They gave it a PG-13 rating.
Yeah.
And you can do a good amount with a PG-13 rating, and I don't even think they
These
scratched.
days, yeah.
They didn't even scratch the surface. Like, I personally think this could have been PG. Even some of the deaths that happened,
Yeah.
or any of the violence, you didn't see any of it. It was all off screen.
And
So-
it was all like that adventure violence where somebody's foot gets caught in like a rope and they
Yeah.
get dragged up to a ceiling and that type of shit.
I understand, dude. It's a Disney film.
Yes.
Like but their target audience on this, man, like they should have been targeting the older generation. I think they were to an extent that grew up with the 101 Dalmatians, but they still didn't want to alienate the younger generation.
And
So
well, going back to the good, I don't want to talk too much bad, but
yeah, but I mean, we looked at it, man. Could you imagine if Disney said F it and gave this an R rating and let Emma Stone, like Joaquin Phoenix,
Yeah.
Joker it?
See-
and just snap?
yeah, and they wouldn't even have to go that far for me, but going far enough with the bad villain type thing would have been way better for them. And you know, there was still a lot of good things in the movie, but that was probably my biggest drawback to it. I was just like, oh, I thought they were going to go so much further, you know?
Costume design was amazing.
So this is one I agree and disagree with you on because some of them were awesome, but other ones I was just like, Jesus Christ, you're really leaning into that like I'm a punk rock type chick.
That was
thing,
the
you know?
era it was set in,
It
though.
was,
70s punk rock era London.
But like her, what was it? British soldier dress.
Yeah.
I was like, eh. But the one where she's got the future written on her
Yeah.
face, I love that one. So I was really back and forth with all of her costumes.
I loved it, man.
I
I thought
love some of them. I hated some of them.
I thought it was all amazing.
Yeah.
Even to the, you know, to go further than that. And Jenny Bevan actually did all the costume design, and you may know her from Mad Max Fury Road, which
Yeah.
she was unbelievable in that as well. But I mean, I think she will get nominated for,
Yes.
I'm thinking an Oscar for
Costume
this film.
design.
I don't know if she'll win it, but she should get nominated. And I mean, also like the set design I thought was great. Everything just looked awesome.
So, yeah. The second half of the movie, I definitely agree with you. The first half of the movie, honestly, I think I was sleeping most of the time, so I can't completely say what I think. But overall, the costume design, it was just my opinion, but overall, it was really well because I think even the ones I didn't like were really well designed. So,
Well, one thing that would have helped keep you awake was the soundtrack.
now that I can agree on.
So it brought in all of the old school rock and punk rock classics from
Yeah.
the 70s era London. They had everything, man.
Yeah.
They had
And
everything. All
then
the
that
classics.
live performance towards the end.
Oh.
Holy shit. I was like, yes, I'm feeling this.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we're not in Devil Wears Prada for a good 10 minutes. I'm good with that, you know?
And I'll talk about, there was a little bit of bad with the music, too, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yeah.
Another thing I liked was the duality of Estella and Cruella. You know, like you said, I wish they went more into that, like
Yeah.
with maybe one side like really battling the other.
Right.
But it was cool to see her like I didn't think there was enough in the beginning of the film with her at a young age.
No.
Like I feel like maybe another 5 or 10 minutes of that would have been cool.
See, I thought it was too much to begin with. Like, I just wanted to get that part over with, honestly.
I thought that was pretty cool, man.
Yeah, the
seeing her
first
beat
half-
the shit out of the bullies and like, because she is
Oh,
like, she's
you
brilliant.
mean like child?
Child.
Okay, yeah, that part was pretty cool. Seeing this like little punk rock girl run around
Yeah.
and fuck shit up, I was okay with that. But yeah, once it escaped that part of the movie and went into like her teenage, early 30, I don't even know, but that time I didn't like. But yeah, I would have liked to see her go a little more crazy. I would have liked her because based on the trailer, it looked like she was going full blown mad. You know?
Yeah. They reined that in a little bit.
And again, Emma Stone did an amazing job, but then it got into the cliches like, oh, I'm going to forget my friends who got me here, and then I'm going to rescue them.
Yeah,
you know?
and we're going to talk about that very
Yeah.
soon. And another thing, I mean, how'd you feel about the finale?
It was predictable to me, but still good. Still
Yeah.
shocking enough. I was like, all right, I can mess with that. Like I said, second half of the movie, I was on board with almost everything. The twist was a little predictable, but it made sense.
Yeah.
And within the context of the film, yeah, it was good enough.
Yeah, I thought the finale was pretty well written.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the bad. Right off the bat, dude, the runtime on this film. You mentioned you slept through half of it. This did not need to be a 2-hour
No.
and 15-minute film.
45 minutes could have easily been taken off this movie.
And,
I think.
You know,
hour and a half tops.
I mentioned like too, like in here, like one of my notes was on like the pacing and just the overall, like really the pacing of the film.
Yeah.
And this would have been so much better served, like you said, even if they took 30 minutes on the editing block and just really made it much more concise.
That too.
I think it would have helped the film. It would have been better for it, but
Yep.
there is no way this needed to be 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Dude, halfway
I mean, you're
through,
approaching like Fellowship of the Ring. This is
paused
about
it.
a Disney villain.
I paused it when we were 40 minutes in because I was like, oh, how long is this, you know? And me and Taylor looked at each other, and she is a Disney fangirl. And she goes, oh, my God.
Yeah.
I was like, it's what? What?
And then kicking it off in the film, too, with the Dalmatians knocking her mother
Jesus
over the
Christ.
cliff at the beginning.
That set me off. I was
And I'm like, Disney, dude, really?
It
Really?
was
You
such
need
a-
to put that into her backstory?
yeah, it was such a bad way to kick the movie off because I was already uninvested at that point. I'm like, oh. And then the way they explain it away, I was just, it was even worse, you know?
And then it's like, oh, that's why she hates Dalmatians.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I get it now.
A little on the nose or
Right.
over the cliff, but yeah, I don't know.
And the CGI on the Dalmatians,
It was not good.
Was not great most of the time. So there was
Yeah.
that too.
Yep. You mentioned before, there were a lot of predictable plot twists, like the whole big reveal with the Baroness being Cruella's mother.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw it coming. I don't know if other people didn't, but
So I either thought that or the butler guy being her dad, and one or the other.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to happen. So
they were too much alike for it not to happen.
right, yeah,
And another issue I had was how quickly Emma Stone shifted into the Cruella persona.
yes,
And you mentioned too with like treating her friends like shit, like knocking stuff over, belittling them. She went from 0 to 100 like way too quickly.
yeah.
And I know a lot of people are like, well, you know, it was a dual personality. She had the full snap, the mental breakdown, and then it's like, no, I mean she was always the Cruella as well.
Yeah.
And-
If that was the case, we would have had a completely bonkers Cruella by the end, like we all wanted.
Yeah.
Not a caring, loving friend who realizes her wrongs and goes back to her friends and rescues them. If it was a shift in dual personality, we would have got full crazy Cruella.
It was just, I don't know, it was jarring to me when the whole, like, you know, the Estella persona, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's Cruella.
Yeah, and she starts using a different accent. I was like, wait,
Yeah.
that happened? I'm like,
Yeah, 'cause
she talked differently before, right?
Yeah, the accent and voice completely changed.
Yeah.
And the skin tone, you know, powdered completely white.
That's
this or
where I
that.
was
And
like-
it's like, I think the gradual, I would have preferred a more gradual build up.
Yeah.
Especially that part where she goes to visit what she thought was her mother, the memorial there with the fountain. Then she announces, you know, I'm Cruella.
Yeah.
At that point, that's when the full-on persona should have come in.
That was a really good scene too. Like I felt that in my feels, like in my jellies. I felt that.
in my jellies.
That would have been a really good moment to bring her out.
So I don't know. The shift was a little off for me.
It was, and yeah, it was just weird. Like when she's like, "Oh, I wouldn't kill a dog for a coat." Or would I?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
But again, that's more on the writing.
Yeah.
Emma Stone still killed it
she
with like
did
the acting part of it.
amazing with what she had. Yeah.
So going back to the soundtrack for a minute, the music was way as great and as amazing, and they must have spent half the budget on just getting the rights to all of these amazing songs from these amazing bands. It was overused. Like I felt like every 2 minutes it went into like another like.
It was like the Suicide Squad.
A little bit,
they used that music really on the head. That you knew what they were trying to do. Not only that, but a lot of the songs were like on the nose. One of them was called like the Deville Inside Me or something like that, and another one was Dogs Are Dogs. I forget the names of them, but they were very
let the dogs out?
They were very involved with what was going on in the scene at the time.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, you're being very on the nose.
And they were, don't get me wrong, they're all great songs. And you know somewhere there's like a boardroom where like they're matching those songs up to the scene and they're all going,
oh, great. It's brilliant, brilliant.
Did you see, like, there were dogs, and now we have a song about dogs.
Do we have a Dalmatian song?
So, yeah, I agree with you. You know, usually you want to use a soundtrack to elevate a film.
Yeah.
And this, to me, like, this is a soundtrack that, not watching the movie, I would put a mixed playlist all day long. 'Cause it's all classic and classic punk rock.
Yeah. I don't think they use their own music at any point either, which really you should mix it up with.
They did a little bit. There was a eerie, like, Cruella theme, but it was, like, instrumental.
Yeah.
But
the live performance in the movie I thought was awesome.
Yeah,
I
it was
don't
cool.
know. I don't know who that was, but he was pretty good.
Yep. So another issue I had was a lot of the characters, like the outside secondary characters outside of Cruella and the Baroness, they were really criminally underused. So you had her good buddies Horace and Jasper. Her partners in crime. So obviously we saw she grew up.
Yeah.
Mother died, had to make ends meet, befriends these two dudes. And they had their scenes, but there just wasn't a lot of character development outside of Cruella.
No.
And I understand the film was called Cruella. It's about her.
Yeah.
But it would have been cool to, like
Horace and Jasper were just lackeys, really.
Yeah.
And they were the two other main characters besides Cruella and Cruella's crazy mother.
Yeah. Yep. So
they could have done a lot more. And honestly, the whole Disney cliche with the mother dying at the end and her being an orphan, I was just like, really? You couldn't have done anything different.
But that's about it. I mean, it's pretty much, at least with my notes, like you said, man, it is literally The Devil Wears Prada with the Cruella skin over it.
And Ocean's 11 sprinkled through it.
Yeah.
Because not Ocean's 8 or 10 or whatever it was, but Ocean's 11, the female one that you don't remember because it was so bad. It had a little bit of that sprinkled into it, and it just didn't work.
So one other thing I want to mention before we get into our review scores, the mid-credits scene. So this is the end of the film, and they did the classic Disney mid-credits scene. Yeah. And it goes back to, it shows two Dalmatians. So one of the Dalmatians was pregnant, and it has puppies. Come to find out, it's Pongo and Purdy, and they go to Roger, the lawyer guy, who's played by the dude from What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, yeah.
One of the vampires, and guy's a riot. And Anita, who was the photographer, the journalist, whatever. So turns out that's, the Roger and Anita from the original 101 Dalmatian films. That's kind of the spiritual successor. And now it's Pongo and Perdita. So now those are the two puppies going each their ways. And now you're assuming they're setting up the 101 Dalmatians to happen.
Yeah.
But my wife flipped out. She's like, whoa. She's like, wait. So Pongo and Purdy are brother and sister, and then they get it on and have a bunch of puppies.
I was thinking the same thing, and
I don't know much about dogs. I'm like, isn't that like isn't that like crossbreeding or inbreeding for like a purebred?
Inbreeding in Dalmatians is a huge thing. I'll give them that, but I highly doubt they thought of that when they were writing the kids movie 101 Dalmatians. Like, oh, you know what? Brothers and sisters fucking each other.
Unless they're like in unless they're in like the really southern part of London,
right?
Oh, stepsister
like
Dalmatian.
Londonville or Lashville. Let's talk about the age of the Dalmatians as well, because they were pretty much the same age throughout the whole movie, considering we had a 15-year time jump.
It wasn't 15; it was about 10 years.
Yeah. Either way, it was weird.
Too. I mean, in dog years, they had to have been relatively young.
They were fully mature when they yeeted that mother off the cliff.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah, like they were fully mature, and then 10 years later, they're just the same, That kind of bothered me. There was a lot of plot holes if you really dig into the movie, and there were some bright spots, but overall, I didn't know I was watching a chick flick.
And most of the comedic value was in the dogs.
Yeah.
You had Wink,
right,
the little dog running around this. The two henchmen, Horace and Jasper
had more heart than any other character.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I know Horace was supposed to be like the main comic relief in the film. He just came off as annoying to me.
Came off weird, like not adorable kind of funny, but like I'm trying to be funny and
I know he's trying to do that like super Cockney accent, like London, and half the time I couldn't even understand him.
Yeah, it was
because
weird.
That mixed with like how deep his voice.
Yeah,
I'm just like, dude, you're going on a little strong here.
A little bit. Just laying it on a little thick.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Anything else you want to mention before we get into our review scores? Good, bad, anything else that comes to mind?
I think we really covered most of it. I didn't like the look of Cruella most of the time. I will say that. Like, it looked weird to me. But that's more nitpicky than anything.
I think that's a mix of the... So a lot of it depended on the hairstyle.
Yeah.
And especially the part that bugged me the most, after the fire that she gets rescued from.
Right.
And at that point, the hair is in a full-on, like... It looks like a...
Like she was on a bender for like 5 days.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm trying to come up with it almost looked like a pressed wig.
Yeah.
That was just, and obviously it's a wig in real life, but
yeah,
it's not supposed to look like that in the film. And it was just like, it was like a George Washington type of
right. And did they explain why she was born with half white hair? Like, is it a condition? Or?
Yeah, it was a genetic thing.
Okay.
It's like a birthmark type thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's about it. So
yeah,
Brian,
we covered most of it. I mean, it was 2.5 hours long, and we talked about more than we should have anyway.
So I'll do my review score first, because I think you went last time.
Yeah.
Or first last time, I should say.
Right.
So, again, we rank from a 0 to 10 scale. We do decimal rankings as well.
We're going to do it in spots this time, right?
Oh, yeah, we should do a 0 to 101 review score. So 0 to 10. So considering everything we talked about, and I had issues with this film, but at the same time, I don't think it's a bad movie.
No.
It's not a bad film. It could have been half hour to 45 minutes less in runtime. There were other things I also would have changed as well, but it's not a bad film. To me, it's an okay film. It could have been worse. I'm gonna give it a 6.9.
Ooh.
Nice.
Ooh. I see what you did there.
Oh, yeah. So I'm going to give it a 6.9. So it was okay. It wasn't terrible. It had some redeeming qualities to it. So I'm going to sit it at 6.9.
So you're pretty
nasty.
much almost dead spot on with me. I almost made the mistake of rating it really low because it turned out to be like a worse Devil Wears Prada, and that's not my type of movie.
I've seen way worse films.
So, yeah, I almost made the mistake. Just because it wasn't the type of movie I like doesn't mean it was a bad movie. So I fixed it a little bit. It is a good movie. For what it is, it's nothing great. It's nothing terrible. So I came in at a 7, even.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shit, we're both right there.
Yeah,
then.
you were like, I had a 7 picked out earlier today, and you were right there with me. So
yeah, so I think that's fair. Mm-hmm. I think that's fair for this film, and
I think it's good to have on the Disney collection. It's like Age of Ultron. It's just kind of
it's there.
Yeah, it's there. It's not bad. It's not great. It's not going to add much to the universe, but it was okay. Watch. Yeah.
Next question is, what villain are they going to do this to next? Because the movie's already a resounding success. It's making money.
I don't know who they're going to do it to next. What I would like to see, I'll tell you this much.
I know who I would like to see.
I would like to see them turn the Hunchback of Notre Dame into a villain and turn it into a horror movie. That's what I want to see.
Just swinging from the bell top, stealing people.
Hey, you guys.
If I had to pick one, I think it'd be cool to see a young Jafar.
Yeah. That would be good.
Because he mentioned too, like he came from nothing, that he was kind of a street rat, and it'd be cool to see him from a young age, like.
But I haven't
learning
seen
magic, learning.
Yeah, I haven't seen the live action Aladdin yet. Did they do anything with him?
Well, no. I mean, they don't really go into
No?
his past too much. He's obviously in the film,
Right.
But so the live action Aladdin is, I don't want to say frame for frame, but it is very, very, very similar to the original Aladdin.
Yep.
Was not a fan of Will Smith as the genie, but then again, he had it set against him.
I'll tell you what.
Robin Williams. So
to answer your question directly, Ursula. Dude, some big octopus chick as a villain, and like what movie they could bring from that type of backstory could be a lot cooler than something like Cruella. Or, I mean, Jafar would be cool.
Ursula would be cool too, because like if they could go back and like show like before she became a sea witch.
Yeah.
Maybe she wasn't like that. Maybe she was a mermaid.
That's what I'm saying.
Just like that, and then she went bad, and then
some kind of bad juju, like I said, comes and messes her up. There's a valid reason for her to turn into it. I mean, those tits in live action. You got it all with Ursula.
Isn't it funny how and I honestly do feel this way in most fandoms. I know we're running early. We got plenty of time, so
Yeah.
I don't mind having a random rabble. But it's funny how in so many forms of like media and fandoms, the villains are usually so much more intriguing
Yeah.
than the actual protagonists. Like
Yes, sir.
usually the antagonists have so much more going for them, like story wise.
Right.
Not all the time. Some of them are shallow.
Yeah.
But
I mean, yeah, think of like Superman. I'm a sucker for a Boy Scout type, good type like character, so Superman's always been good to me. But really, it's just a farm boy with powers who grows up to be a really cool superhero. There's not a lot to dig into in that. But if you think of somebody like Zod, war-torn like alien general, or even in Man of Steel, his sidekick there, I forget her name, but she was a badass. And all the villains that Superman has, Brainiac, there's a ton that come to mind, but they could have way cooler stories than Superman.
I think a lot of that's a byproduct too of when you have the protagonist of something, they generally do give you a lengthy backstory leading up to them becoming what they become.
Yeah.
With the villain's usually already established because it's obviously the antagonist's job to already be there,
Right.
to go against the protagonist. So that gives the opportunity to look at the villain or the antagonist and say, okay, the backstory's wide open because it hasn't been explored yet.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's no question Disney is going to keep doing this.
Yeah.
The question is, who's going to be next?
I want them to go a little darker. I want them to like push the envelope, but it is Disney. I don't know. I guess I'm hoping for nothing right now.
I'd love it.
I would
I'd love
too.
it, man. If they would go with a hard R rating, we might see it with Deadpool. I think they
Like-
might give him kind of carte blanche to kind of come in and
Like you could talk about like Ariel getting her legs cut off and fucking just go buck wild with the Little Mermaid. But no, I think Ursula would be cool, and I would love to see Jafar. And they could do a lot of cool shit. It just hopefully they take what they learned from Cruella and make just a bit better on the next one.
I agree. Well, Brian, it's been a fun random review, my friend.
Yes, it has, Horace.
Whatever, Jasper. So we will be back next week. Same time, same channel.
Yes, sir.
You know where to find us. Later, randos.
Bye.